fans, the North Stars. Who's gonna stall? Who will go far and earn the keg? Who's gonna earn the keg? We'll find out in time. Give us a holler on the whoop line.
Got some echoing there. I don't know if
That was weird.
That's the remix, actually.
that's the remix or computer. Let's see, that's better. So I think we're good. So Monday Night Lights podcast. Brian Piercy back again. This time with Mr. Joey Brennan, Cam, and Pistol Pete is back for a second time in a row. Couldn't keep you away, huh?
Well, I saw two Whalers on a damn podcast. I might as well protect the North Stars over here.
Looks like you brought a notepad too, so I think we're in for a good one.
Yeah,
I
think
brought a
so,
notepad last week, too. We're good.
Yeah. Someone comes prepared. We appreciate that over here.
I'm old school. I don't even know how to use this Fandangle technology to write my notes down.
But as always, give us a call on the Whoop line, 714-75-WHOOP. Email the show podcast at mnlhl.com. Follow and subscribe to us on Twitch, like users like Dougie Fresh. He's 6 months in. He's on a 3-month streak as well. So if you have those re-ups every 30 days, make sure you get in there. All it is pressing a button. So as always, if you're interested in coming on the show, just send us a message. We have the form in the podcast tab at stats@mnlhl.com, or just send me a message and we'll find you a date of when you're available and we'll get you on the show. So we don't really have any news rumors, so I thought we'd kind of go back, first topic on the show, and kind of just review the trades that happened and see what happened on the team. So we all know there was 2 trades. We had Mr. Pistol Pete. He was one of the people. We had the North Stars and the Deeks have a trade. I think it was you and Gio got traded for Cunningham and Judge. And then there was also the second trade that all happened kind of in a combination of, let's see, Hedis left and Crunk, and then you guys got in return, you guys got Riley and Ellis.
Yeah.
I also believe, let's not forget there, that at that same time, or maybe the game before, Suits got hurt.
Right.
So that's kind of when Hollywood came in as well. So
Yeah, rumor has it that Ty may have busted Suits' hip just to get Doc.
yeah, I mean he's a good player. I think we'll kind of address a little bit of that lately. But
Suits was skating though on
Yeah, I heard.
on Sunday, so he was looking pretty good out there. I think Cone busted him up.
Rumor
pretty good,
had
though,
it
but
from
Troy.
Troy said he could be back for playoffs. So
so he was skating at the Sunday skate then.
Yeah, he's going pretty hard too.
Unless they bust my hip.
Yeah, you never know. So
the backup for the backup's backup.
yeah, I don't know how the autos would feel about that, but it'd be nice to have Suits back. Obviously he paid his fees, so it's more than his right to kind of come back on that. But just taking a quick look over here, we actually had 5 games before the trade. The North Stars were 2-2 and 1 overtime win, 8 points. Tigers had 7 points in those 5 games. Nordiques had 4 points. So Nordiques were kind of at a low. North Stars and Tigers were right there neck and neck. But coming out of that trade since then, we've had 5 games each. North Stars have had 14 points since that trade, followed by
15.
Yeah, maybe somewhere down the line, but followed by the Tigers, 7 points. So they're actually staying the same as they were before. Big thank you to Mr. Brennan J. What was that, 15 on his 4th month with Amazon Prime for us as well. So always like to thank the fans. And then the Nordiques, they've only had 2 points since that trade as well. So
That's tough.
So I think I'm going to say it's kind of clear of who won the trade. I guess the big question in my mind is it just the Nordique trade that kind of set the North Stars up, or is it the combination? Because really the Tigers, 7 points to 7 points. They haven't really, their momentum has been the same.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think so obviously in the Nordiques Stars trade, the Stars won that trade. I mean, I hate talking about myself. We all know I'm such a humble type of guy, but on that one, I think the steal was getting me for Judge. I think. I mean, anytime you trade a forward for a defenseman, I kind of feel that you win if you get the forward, especially if they're kind of like. That's an odd one.
Someone hit one of these poles.
All right, that wasn't me.
Might have been
anyways,
Joey. I see a smile on his face.
That almost sounded kind of like da-da.
Your time's up, Pete.
I was just trying to cut Pete off. You know how it goes.
No, but I think in the case of Judge and myself, I mean, we're kind of similar draft positions. I mean, I don't know if I I mean, in the talk earlier, should I have been a first rounder, second rounder, whatever. But I think when you trade a defenseman to a forward, I think you kind of win if you go with the forward on that one, especially if they're high motor guys, high energy guys. I mean, if they're top end talents, I think you'll win with the forward. I mean, especially if the guy knows how to play both sides of the rink. I mean, he kind of gives you that defensive prowess, and he's got that offensive potential too. I mean, the Cunningham and the Gio part of it, I don't know if you could say it's a wash. I think Gio's a really good player, Cunningham's a really good player. They both got speed on their side. So on that one, I don't know.
I'd say Gino can score more goals than Cunningham, though.
Right. Again, it's kind of a wash. I mean, right now I think Gio's taking the steps above Cunningham on that one. So, but I mean, again, it's we still got a few games left in the season.
I was gonna bring up with that trade. How many goals have you and Gio scored together?
Jesus.
That's how you guys benefited from, or that's how the Stars benefited from the trade.
So I'm trying to think. I think in the last 3 games, so the last 4 games, I have 10 points. I think maybe 10 or so.
Breaking down brick walls, apparently.
No, but I mean, I'm trying to think because I know I had like the 3 2 weeks ago. Then I had like one the game before that, and I may have had one coming right out of the trade. I can't remember. So maybe 4 goals and like 8 assists. I don't know what I've had, to be honest with you, but I know I've had a little bit of offensive spurt, and I know Gio with playing with Doc, he's had kind of a good offensive spurt too. Now to flip it on the Tiger side, that trade, I don't want to say that the North Stars won it yet. And I don't want to say the Tigers haven't done anything yet, because I kind of think like you put a new goalie in the system, and I think Riley has really benefited from us, though we're trying to play defense in front of them. I think our defensive core has been playing really well. We're allowing Riley to see the shots for the most part, and we're getting rid of that second shot. Right, he's making the first save, and we're clearing the rebound as quick as we can. And then Hedis is Hedis, right? I mean, he has his ups and downs. It depends on what mood he's in, what jacket he's wearing, who's he complaining about, what ref he's complaining about. But I mean, Hedis is a pretty good goalie too. And then then the other one was Crunk and Ellis. Again, similar type of players. One might give you a little bit more on the offensive side than the other, but again, similar type of players. And with the Tigers, I mean, they already have a good squad, and they just added to it. It might just take a few games here before playoffs for them to really start, picking up steam. I mean, that's the kind of thing you worry about.
I would say for the Tigers side, the big thing on that trade so far is actually I think Riley's been a nice surprise for the North Stars on there. They knew they were getting kind of a little extra offensive punch with an Ellis, probably with that upgrade, I'd say from a Crunk or Ellis to a Crunk, or flip that. But I don't think that was a surprise. I think Riley's been the key factor of a surprise there. Joey on the other end for the Nordiques, you guys went from 4 points to 2 points. We've talked about before how scoring's king. You guys, Judge can play both ways. He's a good player. I think Cunningham's actually missed a couple games. I know there was a national championship game. His elbow was beat up as well. What are your thoughts so far with that trade?
Yeah, I mean, I guess just going back to the North Stars side of it, I know that the argument originally was, well, they sold out on defense to try to get the extra punch, and clearly it hasn't bit them. So, I mean, time will tell with that one. We'll see how it goes in a playoff series when they're against another tough team. But so far, it's been good for them. Yeah, on the Nordique side, I mean, I know what Panny was going for with the trade. I mean, I know what he's trying to do. He was trying to get some more versatility in the lineup, because, I mean, that's kind of been one of the talks I've heard you say on the podcast a few times, that the Nordiques have a locked-in lineup the way he drafted the team. So I think he was trying to just kind of get some versatility there, because he knew that he could put Cunningham or Judge to play forward or D. But, I mean, clearly it hasn't really worked out. I mean, at the time I was a little apprehensive of the trades. I don't like to talk great about Pete because he's sitting right there, and I know his head's pretty small and he's a little bigger.
Off the ice, I'm a level-headed guy. We're good.
Oh, but I hate giving up a real dynamic player like Pete that could just kind of make stuff happen. I don't really necessarily feel like you have that with Judge. I mean, Judge is he's a good player, and he fits in a lineup, but you can't kind of stick him on a line and expect him to carry it, whereas you can kind of do that with Pete.
Yeah,
and then
real quick too, just like to thank Ashley with her Amazon Prime or Twitch Prime subscription. We always appreciate that as well. So thank you very much. But yeah, that is tough. I mean, I thought Cunningham yesterday. We'll get to a little bit more. He seemed like a man on the mission, carrying the puck, going up and down the ice. But at the same time, when you're not putting it in the net, I mean, I guess the question for you is, you guys were near that bottom 2 in the standings anyways. You had 4 points in your last 5 games. is it better just to make a move to try to make something happen, or to sit pat and kind of just see where you go?
You know, I mean, I don't really like to look at like the past and be like, what if? But I personally probably wouldn't have made the move. You know, to me, I would have wanted to add an extra player to that, right? Like we moved 2 top pieces. I would have liked to see something happen further down in the lineup to try to kind of actually make a difference, because we kind of just traded 2 pieces for 2 pieces. You know, being at the bottom here now, I mean, we got a ways to fight to stay in, and then if we do stay in, we still got to win the wild card game or whatever. But
At the same time, though, you guys have not been dominated at all, I would say, in games. You guys are competitive, so as long as you make the playoffs, I still think anybody can beat anybody.
yeah, we just got to figure out our game a little bit. I mean, if you watch us, it's just really like a single punch every single time. There's no second punch. There's no zone offense. It's just kind of like somebody gets it, takes up the ice, tries to score a goal, and then it's coming back the other way.
It's
you
in
know,
spurts, right? It's in
we need to
spurts.
get that sort of team offense going and start moving the puck around a little bit better. If we could do that, then yeah, I think we got a decent shot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just be
n-
careful about saying anything to Panny. I try to give him suggestions. Next thing I know, I'm traded.
Oh, it's too late. Trade deadline's passed.
I mean-
I know. Well, for next year.
Cohen's
He's
been
a
playing solid,
he's
though.
a keg-winning GM, so who are you to tell him what to do?
I'm a nobody.
Either way, moving on to this pick'em standings. We're not going to go over this too long. Currently, we have 3 weeks left. It's really just a 2-man race right now for that winning. Dylan's currently in the lead with 43 points. Troy, second place with 40 points. If you want to see those full standings, go to pick'em.mnlhl.com. Troy might be winning his own prize. I don't know. So
There's a secret motivation, I believe. I don't believe there is a prize. I think the prize is made up, which is why if Troy wins it, it's a wash for him. It's going to be one of those last minute Christmas gift type deal. He's going to have to go out and get something.
that is fair. Troy can be bought to kind of smooth, massage those standings a little bit, just to let you know. But let's move on to the games. First game of the night was the Americans versus the Nordiques. We had the Americans winning this one 2-1 matchup. Before I'm going to turn it over to Joey for a summary of the game, but before that, a lot of people thought the Nordiques had this one lined up. They had a couple subs. They were able to bring in Pfister and Pelot as subs, and the Americans had a couple late sub downs with Starr and Cipps being late scratches and having to bring Graham and Whoop in as those subs. So, Joey, give us a rundown of this game.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd really call Whoop a sub down, because all it really meant is that Proctor was on the ice 95% of the time. Whoop was just taking 15-second shifts and putting Proctor back on the ice. So I'd probably call that a sub up in reality. But yeah, no, that was a heartbreaker of a game, honestly. I mean, I thought the play was pretty even going back and forth. Pfister did a good job for us. Pellet did a good job for us. The first goal, I think, it was just a bumblefuck where I went to grab the puck, and Cone went to kind of grab the puck, and then
Slid right under him.
yeah, I held my stick for a little bit too long, and I think it was Graham actually just kind of slapped my stick, and the puck went 5-hole on Cone. I think he scored the goal off my stick, so it was,
And that stick survived.
that stick survived. Yeah, no, it's a new stick, so I had to keep that one alive for another couple of weeks anyways. And then the second one was just, we just had a lapse on defense, and Proctor came in and scored a goal. So it just 2 mistakes, and we lost the game. But, I mean, on the other side of it, we also only scored 1 goal. So
Yeah, I believe that second goal Proctor leaked through for a breakaway, which with him, it's tough because he's looking for that. He just needs essentially a half a stride, and there's not a lot of people when he actually puts his mind to it that are going to keep up with him, especially on the defensive side. So, I mean,
going to happen once a game.
it
right?
consistently happens throughout the game. Cam, I mean, this was the first game of the night. Did you get to watch much of it?
I did, yeah. I showed up right at puck drop. Watched first and second. Watched 1-1 go in, both goalies. I thought Cohen played really well. I think there was a lot of chances. And then I didn't see the second goal, so I don't know how that game ended. I started getting ready. It looked like pretty fair play. I think Woodsy got really hurt or something. I don't know what happened. I just all of a sudden see him skate over the bench and kind of fall over. So I don't know status. He threw something on Slack saying it's okay. So Cohen played solid. I thought maybe that little mishap that happened in the first. The big question is, are they gonna, are you guys ready to show up for next week?
Oh, yeah, we have some scenarios coming up.
Yeah.
I watched the game. I mean, I thought the Americans, they didn't look like they were primed. They didn't look like they were going all out. They were just looking for that, they were looking for that home run kind of breakaway stuff. And I thought
Proctor
Cunningham
got lucky on one.
I don't know if I'm not going to call it luck because that's what he does
That's their
all the
game.
time. He
Yeah,
leaks
it's kinda
out. He
cherry
got
pick style.
Antioch threw him that pass. He got behind the defense. It's so hard. That's the hard thing when you're playing against Proctor on defense. As the Proctor stopper, you got to keep your head, on a swivel. You have to watch for him to leak out,
Yeah.
and you have to
Take
essentially
down notes, everyone.
you have to essentially play on your heels all game and not worry about keeping the puck. And you have to give that stuff up a little extra to try to make sure he's not going to get that breakaway because he's looking for it. On the other hand, with the Deeks, I thought Cunningham, like I said before, played a really good game. I saw him going coast to coast with it, skating up with it. I saw a lot of things, and I wouldn't be able to do this either, where he's going up, he's making people commit to him. He's making nice passes over to like a breakout side, and people were just not handling those passes great, which kind of slowed you guys down as well. So I think the movement of the puck with the Deeks hurt a lot with trying to get that movement going, but then not actually handling it and moving it around great.
Yeah, I think that's our biggest problem is just moving the puck properly.
Right, and as we talked about, we had that discussion in the room prior to trade about moving the puck, getting the puck moving. It's very I don't want to say undervalued, but that puck doesn't move fast enough. You're shooting yourself in the foot. You're giving teams a chance to set up, a chance to see what you're going to do, who's moving where. If that puck's not moving, you're gonna find yourself on the wrong end a lot of times. But again, it goes to what we said last week though with the Deeks. They have a chance to close this out for themselves, and they cannot finish.
Oh my
Right?
God, so many times.
Like last week, yesterday's game. You saw the Americans were not on their best game. They were not in their best form. They looked vulnerable. I think you guys were subbing up with with Pfister and Pelot, and again, you guys should have taken advantage of that. And again, spurts, a couple good shots here and there, but those are the type of games when you have those opportunities, we got to take advantage of them. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, last week was a huge heartbreaker with the Whalers. That was a big deal. Piercy's obviously came out on the right end of that, but and then we had another chance this week, and then next week if we don't beat the Ducks, that's it. So
I've actually later on when we talk about standings and scenarios, I've kind of broke through most of the scenarios, so I actually have a lot of useful stats. But let's move on to the next game. I don't know how much we're going to be able to cover this because unfortunately I wasn't able to get anybody for this game, but we had the Golden Seals versus the Tigers. The Seals won 3-1. From what I heard, I think there was an empty netter at the end. Mm-hmm. Joey, were you able to see any of this game? I know you, since you had the 9:00 game. I don't know if you stuck around, if you watched any in between. Did you see much in this game?
I just watched about most of the first period. I had a duck out. I had a dog emergency, but but yeah, no, I just saw the first little bit of it. I think I saw the Seals get their first goal, and that was kind of about it, to be honest with you.
How was the pace of the game looking? How were things? Anything stuck out to you just in that short period of time?
It looked like it was going pretty fast. The game was moving pretty well. As kind of expected between those two teams. They're both pretty high skill teams.
Yeah, and from what I heard, it sounded like it was a close game. Like I said, it's really hard for us to talk about this. Empty netter, 2-1 going down into the end. So once again, it's always nice to see tight games going on in Monday Night Lights.
3 losses in a row for the Tigers.
Yeah, that's tough, and I think Matt Taylor has been at all of them, maybe?
I don't know if he was there last night. I didn't see him, at least. I don't know if he was on the ice. You can usually tell by the Yarmir Yager hair, but
I don't know. I don't remember in Troy's sub guide seeing anybody subbing for him, and I think we would have heard about it.
I think he was there. I think he was there.
I believe so, too, because if not, I would assume at least Sugar would have gotten the first call. I don't remember seeing him there beforehand.
maybe they're making him sandbag before playoffs or something.
Sandbag, but I think it comes down. I think it comes down to something more simple than that. I think it comes down to, hey, if Matt Taylor has the puck, you got two guys just watching him as opposed to skating with them and getting open. Sure. You see that a lot. You see when you have some of the guys, some of these first round guys carry the puck. Too many guys sit still and just wait and hope for the best that they're going to do all the work and. Sorry.
Yeah. Those situations can be tough, too, if you're one of those benders on the ice, too, because sometimes, at least I've been in a situation like that, is you don't get the puck 90% of the time, 95% of the time, even when you feel like you're in a position to.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily care, but then that one time you get fed and you might miss the puck and you're just like, why do you think I was expecting that? Why do you think I'd be ready for that puck? I was looking to go to the net for a rebound or something else. And depending on the person, then they give you flack about it. And you're like, well, that kind of sucks.
They can go to hell if they're going to give you flack about that shit. Only I can give flack about that.
Yeah, of course.
It's all with love, trust me.
So this game, I think we'll have a little bit more to talk about. We have the Whalers versus the North Stars. North Stars pulled this out in a shootout, 3-2. So, Pete, since you were on the winning end, let's have you start out with your thoughts on this game.
All right. Well,
Everybody grab a cup of coffee.
nah, I already have some here. No. So I mean, to say the game, I think the first period. I think we can all agree that the first period. I don't think the Whalers were out there. It just seemed like we were.
You guys definitely took it to us the first period.
And I think the conversation we had afterwards as North Stars is we want to play like that. I mean, that first period, we were flying. We were getting to all the pucks. We were using everybody on the ice. It was going to D, back down low. I mean, we were getting shots. I think if it wasn't for Cam standing on his head on a few of them, I mean, the game could easily have been blown open early in the first. But Cam played fantastic. He had a great game the whole way through. And, so, I mean, the first period, I think, ended with a 0-0, double goose eggs, nothing going on. And then in the second period, the Whalers popped in the first one. We had that. Yeah, I think you had the
Venandi.
goal from Venandi. Yeah, I mean from you, right? So
Yeah.
I think the puck squared back to you. You took a nice slap shot. Now it was going about 10 feet wide, but Venandi somehow stuck his stick out. I don't know if he put a chant on it or something, but he stuck his stick out, tipped it, pulled it back, and it just went right around Riley. I mean, it was an absolute gorgeous tip. The shot was perfect for the tip. I mean, it wasn't head hunting. It wasn't right on the ice. About knee high, it was perfect. And then I think we tied it up.
I got shorthanded.
That was a short-handed.
shorty.
Trent turned it over to Gio for a breakaway.
Yeah, and Gio had the nice little. Yeah, Gio got the breakaway, got that in there. And then Serta had a beautiful goal. I mean, I remember this one because I was on the ice. I was on the ice for both of them actually, but I remember this one because Troy had Serta. Now. Had in quotation marks. I mean, we know that Troy wasn't going to catch him, but he was in a good defensive position to agitate him, probably not let him get that shot off as well as he wanted. But Troy kind of stopped skating on the play, and he admittedly said, "Yeah, I kind of screwed that one up." I had the position in the middle, and then we had our defenseman. But Serta was able, being on the left-hand board's right-hand shot, was able to pull that puck back and get a better angle, open up the blade, better angle to the net, and just put it right over Riley's left shoulder. Great shot. And then, we were able to get the tying goal. I think Sukes, it went off, came from the point. I think Ty had the puck. He had a chance to score, kind of fumbled it, but then was able to make the play to Sukis. And Sukis took a nice little shot and, screenshot. I don't think Cam ever saw it, but it was in a perfect spot where hit the twine. And, and there we go for the rest of the game. Now, OT came and went. Nothing exciting. I think Troy, myself, and Ellis kind of, Troy and myself. I don't know if it was Ellis or who was out there. I think it was Ellis. We kind of
Gio.
we shit the bed pretty good on that first, the first 3-on-3. We almost gave you guys the game on the silver platter. We looked horrible.
Yeah,
And then,
I thought the
I thought we were
OT
gonna
that
win.
we
Yeah,
outplayed you guys
you
by
did.
quite a bit, and
You
then
did.
you guys, what did it go, 4 or 5 rounds for the shootout?
I think it went to the
4 rounds.
I think 4 rounds. It went 4 rounds. Gio, Gio had hit the crossbar on the third one, and then Ellis went 5-hole on camera and got it. But I mean, regardless of the way it ended, I mean, we had a good goaltending battle. I think Cam played. Cam had a fantastic game. He was making great saves. I mean, the shootout. We hit a post, but he made some really good shootout saves, and Riley stood on his head for a couple of them too. I mean, he looked solid in the shootout, didn't let nothing by him, and all in all, we both got we got a point out of the game, so it wasn't we got 2, you guys got 1, so that helps you guys out to keep that playoff. I think you guys are clinched or ready to clinch, I believe.
We'll go over that in a few minutes,
Yeah.
but Cam, what are your thoughts on the game?
Like Pete said, I mean, we got just pummeled in the first. I was seeing the puck, so that was good for the Whalers. And then we got those 2. They got that one shorthanded, and then we go into the third, and they I don't know what happened. It got thrown up to the point. We were trying to clear it out, and I don't know if point to point went over to Sukas, and I mean, I wasn't able to see it, and the next thing I know, it's in the net. So
He made a good shot. I mean,
Yeah,
I think it
it's-
was
I mean,
top
he-
shelf. You can't. It's
he
hard.
like,
It's
he
hard
like
to
popped
get
up
those.
the water
right up
bottle, and it
Brennan.
landed in the net like literally standing up. So that was like the only thing I thought about. It was cool about it at the time, but
Yeah, I would say, like you said, North Stars definitely dominated the first period. After that, I think it was pretty even.
Yeah, I think so,
overall,
too.
maybe third period slightly us, maybe not even, but
I
it's
give you
hard
guys
to-
a second, to be honest with you. I think the second you guys kind of took it to us, you got that 2-1 lead. I think you guys kind of. I mean, I don't want to say. I think the game was a wash after the first. I think the game was a wash. I think it could have gone either way,
Yeah.
and both goalies made the saves they had to make when they had to make them. And I think the goals that got scored were, good goals. There was nothing really
there wasn't
cheap
any weak.
about them.
Yeah, it wasn't really any weak goals. It was just a good
fun
quality
game
game.
is fun game as always. Big thing I think, at least for us, and I think a lot of in the Whalers locker room, and I don't think it's been brought up because at least I haven't had the experience. It's always hard to see. Is we saw Doc Hollywood or Holiday?
Yeah.
Is it Hollywood?
Hollywood. Yeah.
Makes me think of Michael J. Fox from that movie back
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
day. He seems like more of a Doc Hollywood. It's
We'll
a
call
little
him
bit
Holiday.
cool.
Doc Holiday. There we go. A little
Holiday
gunslinger.
seems a little cooler,
Okay, that's where it came from.
type of thing. But anyways, Cam, or actually in the locker room, I think Cam had a different opinion, but a lot of people thought he was a pretty good upgrade from Suits, but you thought otherwise, Cam.
Yeah, so I thought
with
I
Cam.
think I think Suits is a better player from a goaltender perspective, and that's what I kind of brought up last night when we were on the party deck. I'm like, Suits is a very north to south, as Hollywood is a lot of east to west, and I think Suits got a hat trick on me in one of the games we played last. So, I don't think Hollywood got a goal on me. So, I look at it from that standpoint as a threat level. I don't know how has Hollywood had any goals for you
Yeah,
guys?
he has. He's got a few. I think he's got either 4 or 5 goals right now
Okay.
for
I
the
would-
amount of games he's played.
I would say Suits is more of kind of that odd man break guy. You want to get him like almost, right when you get out of the zone, he's able to get around defense, as where Hollywood, he can kind of move around in the zone and set up play.
Brendan, have you got a chance to play against both of them? Is there any thoughts on your end on that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think back to Hollywood. I mean, I know I played Suits on Sunday just in the drop-in, but I'm trying to think back to when I played Doc. But I don't know. To me, it's just Suits, the way he plays. He's more of seems like more of a drop-in guy to me. Like he can kind of own a drop-in game. He'll just kind of go around everybody and just do everything by himself. Whereas Hollywood, I think, can make the team around him better. And it's just a matter of who you got on the line with him and which one's better. I mean, I think it's hard to pick which one's better than the other. It just depends on the supporting cast, really.
It's hard to say. I think from my point of view is typically like a north-south guy. I feel like if I keep my head on a swivel, I don't let him get that breakout, he's easier for me to stop type of thing. Whereas someone like Doc, he's going left, right. He can, as me being, that lower end bender type guy, it's harder for me to make those cuts where he can cut one way, cut the other way, and all of a sudden I'm kind of like fuddling over my feet where a Suits is going to pick away. I still have decent speed for my skill level. I can then throw my body one way and start trying to haul and try to keep up with him, or at least give him trouble there. So at least for my skill level and my strength and weaknesses, I find myself Suits is a little bit easier to defend. Not to say that he's easy to defend, but between the two, that style is easier for me to
Yeah.
go after.
Right, and that's what kind of what I was going to get at is, and that's the deception why we're having this conversation. Why who's better than who? Is Suits is a north-south type player. North-south type players really translate well to like a beer league because you're not going to find too many guys that know how to go east-west that are going to be able to dangle through a team. Because, Doc, he has good hands. He has very good hands, and he's a very accurate type player. I mean, you notice, I watch him on the bench, and sometimes I look at the balance on his skates, and it's not – he has good balance, not great balance, but he's got very good hands, and he's able to correct any mistakes he makes with his feet. But most guys that play beer league don't see those type of players too often. You don't see the guys that are going to stick handle, just in a stick handle guys in a phone booth type deal, right? You don't see that, but – that doesn't necessarily make him an upgrade over Suits. I think they're kind of even par. I mean, Suits does have a good shot. And it's a pretty accurate shot. I don't know how his top end speed would compare to Suits, but I do know that if you put Suits next to Doc, you're not going to see Suits stick handle the way Doc does. I think Suits' hands are a little bit more. He has, I don't want to say stone hands, but his hands aren't as silky as Doc's are when they're on the ice. But
I
Go
will.
ahead.
I will say it benefits the North Stars to have Hollywood just because of Hollywood's style of play.
Right.
Maybe it wasn't so much with Suits as it is with Hollywood. So maybe, having that type of player maybe is kind of gave the trade kind of
Well, we'll see.
made the push.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, we talked about,
When you guys are finding out ways to win and you're winning them. So.
And I don't want to run on too much. I don't want to move on, but I mean, we said right in the beginning that Suits may be back, and if that's the case, we'll see what happens. Because to me, what was wherever Suits was drafted, the 4 spot, it was basically either me or Suits. That was a dilemma Troy had. Now he's got both.
Yeah, and I
Right?
think, at least in my mind, briefly got to talk to Doc. Seemed like a good guy.
Yeah.
I mean, I think his skill level's right. If we went to 8 teams, I think we have a couple guys right now with subbing in, everything like that. I don't see why he wouldn't be a potential candidate. You got Guma or Gumma. You got him, Hal coming back, stuff
Or
like
the
that.
Spizak guy who subbed a few times.
Spizak, Mike Spizak.
I think going back though to like the sorry, I don't want to kind of keep dragging on, but going back to the Doc versus Suits, I gotta completely agree with Piercy on this one. Just as like a bender defenseman, is when someone comes barreling down the ice at me, I kind of know what they're gonna do. Right? They're gonna try to cut into the net. They're gonna try to score a goal. When somebody comes at me and I don't know what they're gonna do, that's where I fuck up. I mean, that's the reason why Proctor is so dangerous. It's not that I can't handle Proctor; it's that I don't know what he's gonna do. So I got to back off him, or if I try to attack him, he goes around me. If I try to back off him, he passes, And that's where I think the argument comes in with Suits versus Doc is like, Doc will do that kind of stuff where like I don't know what he's going to do. I don't know how to play him. Whereas Suits, I know I just attack him.
Yeah, and there's those certain guys where if you can force them one way or the other, you can flip those hips either way and start going balls out, and then you at least have some kind of chance against them where someone like Doc last night, you flip those hips, he's going to all of a sudden make a cut, go the other way, and you're just screwed.
You're flat, yeah.
I mean, I guess so. This is more of a better question for our higher skilled defensemen, right? This would be hey, John, Starr, what do you think between the two? Ben, what do you think between the two? Because I mean, the guys that know how to play these guys, they'll tell you, yeah, an East-West guy. What does that mean to me? Let him do all his dangles. I'll just keep him in front of me.
Yeah.
I mean, that it's the same thing when I'm playing Proctor and I'm playing the pistol defensive blanket, as we called it in the first year one. When I look at him, I'm like, okay, well, just come on down and I'll watch your chest and you can sit there and spin and deke all you want. I'll be right in front of you still. It's that kind of thing. It all depends how you play the guys and what you're used to playing. But again, beer league guys that are of average skill and stuff like that, they'd rather see a Northwest guy, a North-South guy, because it's easier to judge. And they're not going to move too much, right? If they make a cut move, when are they going? 2 feet to your left, 2 feet to your right?
They're going to hit the hash marks. They're going to cut to the net.
Exactly.
I know what they're going to do.
The peso
right?
move.
Yeah.
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 Moving on real quick. We have the OFP power rankings. We'll kind of fly through these and then just go to the standings and start talking about possible scenarios. But Mr. Troy Otto has the Seals 1, Americans 2, North Stars 3, Whalers 4, Tigers 5, Ducks, followed by the Nordiques at 7. So moving on to the standings, we have the Golden Seals 36 points, Americans 28 points, North Stars 28 points as well, Tigers 22, 21 for the Whalers, 15 for the Nordiques. Mighty Ducks are at 12 points. Just a few quick notes. We currently have the Americans, Tigers, Whalers, and Mighty Ducks at 15 games, while the other teams are at 16 games. So there is that difference. So just looking at things real quick. Number 1 seed. Seals don't have that clinched up as of quite yet. They've clinched the bye. They need 1 point, or Americans to lose 1 point to clinch that seed. So it's a given.
Seals. Yeah.
I'm going to go Seals on that one.
Yeah, I'm gonna put money in that Seals will get the number 1 seed.
Yeah,
Americans are looking a little choppy right now, so I don't know if
Yeah, so
we'll see.
A big battle coming up though is for the number 2 seed. I'm going to say it's coming down to the North Stars and the Americans as of right now. The Americans actually have that tiebreaker over the North Stars, so that game coming up next week, even if the North Stars win, it doesn't do that. Both teams have 28 points, but the North Stars have played one extra game.
Yep.
And even if the North Stars beat the Americans next week, if the Americans win out after that, they still control their own destiny to get that bye because of that difference.
We were talking about that in the room. I think I kept hearing people saying, "Oh, next week is for the North Stars," and I'm like, "No, they have a total 9 points they can win, and we have a total of 6 points that we can get." And so, I mean, in the end, it comes down to we need to win out. They just need to get 7 points, right? I mean, that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, so they have that bye week, and like I said, even if they lose next week, they still control their own destiny. So, as Troy was asking before, what's it going to take for me to think the North Stars are going to get that? And I've been pretty firm about the Americans. I still like my choices of there because even if you guys beat them, which I think is highly likely, they still control their own destiny.
To be perfectly honest with you, to me, the second seed doesn't really matter to me at this point because, I mean, I'm looking at the schedule here, and we have a bye the very last week of the season. If we have another bye, if we get that second seed and have another bye, that's 2 weeks of not skating in a game. I don't know how well I feel about going into
and then
any
taking
playoff
on a
series.
hot team coming in with momentum. Yeah,
Right.
it's gonna be
Now, don't get me wrong. I think the first round is single game elimination.
That's the biggest problem.
Yeah.
The bye gets you into a guaranteed 3-game series, and I think we kind of agree. Not to say it's likely, but any team could beat any team. I mean, with the Whalers, we've had probably the most trouble with the Ducks. So, like, that would almost screw us if we got the third seed and they made it. So, every team has their weaknesses. Every team plays best against other teams, so you never know what could happen.
Like I said, I'll take our North Star. We've been pretty hot. We've been playing pretty well. I'll take our chances in a 1-game series. I know there's certain people out there that like to say that we're frauds and we haven't beaten anybody and stuff like that. But I like to take our chances the way we've been playing and the way we can play. Hence, period 1 of yesterday's game. I think we can put a game like that together and keep it going the whole game.
Exactly. 3 seed, obviously, we're probably looking at the Tigers. As of right, or I'm sorry, the loser of that doesn't get the bye is most likely going to be getting that 3rd seed, and then the Tigers, realistically, them and the Whalers are going at that 4 or 5. So we're probably looking at that as a first-round matchup, I would think.
You're fighting for who gets what bench.
Yeah, I mean, so
pretty much.
Yeah, you had the left side.
sounds
the right
like
side?
it sounds like the Whalers are gonna be, kind of getting that Matt Taylor in the playoff look. Real quick as a question, I guess we kind of stumbled over it, is with the way your guys' lines were and with Ike being out, we moved Trent to defense. Just from a opposite direction, what were your thoughts Trent being at defense as of last night?
I was ready to kill him at one point yesterday in the game. But Trent on defense, okay, so Trent likes to skate the puck up. That's one of his fortes. So putting him on defense gives him that opportunity to move the puck on his own, right? I mean, you put him back there and he has room and he doesn't have a good forecheck. He can start building up his speed because Trent, he's not going to wow you with breakaway speed on the first 4 steps. Trent, as he picks up steam, right, that's when he starts getting dangerous. As you give him room to skate, he starts getting dangerous and he starts seeing the open ice. And we all know Trent has a hell of a shot. And if he rifles it on you, he's going top bar and he's going to most likely score. I mean, I've seen the guy in a WBW game break a goalie's helmet from a shot from the point.
Yeah, I got to agree. I mean, I like seeing Trent at D. I mean, as a defenseman, with Trent skates it up and he's going full steam at me, like, I'll be damned if I'm stepping in front of him when he's coming at me, like, full speed on the ice. I'm taking my chances with the goalie. I mean, because I'm either going to get crushed by 250 pounds of Trent or I'm going to get a slap shot up my ass,
Yeah, it was an interesting thing because, like I said, Ike was out because of that. Gibb was subbing. We felt like with your guys is essentially having you and Hollywood as the centers, we were just better off putting Trent back there. So it was an experiment, and I thought it looked pretty good. Him and Turnbull together as a line is a pretty good defensive combo.
Yeah, that
Trent
line.
almost does more damage as a defenseman than he does as a forward.
He
I've
does.
always been an advocate of putting Trent at defense.
Yeah.
He's that offensive forward. Or sorry, he's a defensive forward. Offensive forward. Jesus Christ. Anyway,
Offensive defenseman.
Thank you.
Offensive defenseman.
Getting there.
What are you, 3 beers in and you're already losing it?
Yeah. But no.
You only got one goalie here, just you.
Yeah. No, I thought he played excellent last night. We've only seen him on D once, so it was
Yeah,
nice
I
to
mean,
have him
it's
back
something
there.
to think about. I thought he looked good back there. I think Ait plays good defense as well, but it's kind of interesting seeing those options that are kind of breaking out going into the playoffs as
Right.
well.
And this is going back to one of the times I subbed for you. I even told Panny, I mean, like, I like your guys' defensive core. I was happier than a pig in shit the time I subbed for you guys, and I was curling down low and I was getting breakout passes right on the tape, and we could move up. And we were playing at North Stars, mind you. That was
was
me
the
subbing
Seals.
for you. No, I was subbing for you guys. And we were playing at North Stars that game, and I was having fun because I was getting the pass, and I was like 3 steps. I was in the neutral zone, giving the pass off to Trent.
The only reason that usually happens is because I'll usually throw the puck to Eric and let him actually move the puck with good decisions.
Yeah.
So that's always a good call on defense. I was doing that a lot to Cunningham last night. I'm like, here you go. You make the call.
Yeah, it's like I don't have a good enough vision and a good enough passing skills, but I know Eric's right there. Pass it over to him, and he'll do a laser to someone for a nice, breakout play. So that's always fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think we know that the 4-5 seed is pretty much there, which leads us. I'm going to call it the main event.
It is. It really is.
We got the buys, everything like that. But, the first year someone officially doesn't make the playoffs, it's a big deal. It's between the Ducks and the Nordiques. Currently, those teams are 1-1 against each other on the season. And the winner of next week's matchup where they play each other is going to get the tiebreaker. So because of that, if the Nordiques win next week, they actually clinch the playoffs. Because the most after that the Deeks could have is the same amount of points, but with the tiebreaker, they would have that. If the Ducks actually win, they will control their own destiny there, or essentially they would tie up the points, but then they would have the tiebreaker over it. So they'd have 2 games left. I think the Nordiques would have 1 game left, so it would put it in their span. Essentially, they would just have to outscore or tie the amount of points that Nordiques got in 2 games compared to 1 game. So, Brandon, how are you seeing this one playing out?
I mean, we've had our chances to clinch this playoff. Well, not clinch it, but we've had our chances to put the playoffs in our own hands, and we didn't do it for 2 weeks in a row. And I mean, I hope to hell that we can get it done against the Ducks, but I'm worried. I mean, I'd be lying if I'm not worried. I mean, I'm going to go out there, I'm going to play my hardest, maybe kill somebody. We'll see, but
Not break a stick.
yeah, I'll maybe break a stick, maybe injure
okay.
someone's
Sticks
head.
are people
we'll
too,
see,
right?
but.
Just a little bit more information. So the Mighty Ducks have the Nordiques, like we talked about. Then they have the North Stars, followed by the Tigers to actually finish out their schedules. So no gimme points along that line. The Nordiques, obviously they have the Ducks. Then they have a bye, followed by the Golden Seals. So another tough schedule. So, Pete, how do you see this one playing out?
This is the game of futility. I mean, this is pretty much what next week is. And I hate to rip on both teams right now, but again, Brennan, you said it. You guys have had chances to put it away. Ducks, they've had chances to reel them in. And here we are, I think, in 4 weeks. Whatever you guys do, they do. Whatever they do, you guys do. But, again, I'm still sticking with I got the feeling the Ducks are going to pull this out. Now, they have to win next week. We're going to be gunning hard for them the week after because we want to win out we want to win out and get the maximum 6 points. I don't know. It depends on what Deke's team shows up. If we got Cone playing hot, and I think he's been kind of turning up his game the last few games. I don't think there's been a lot. I think
Cone's
he's
been
given
playing great. He's
2
been spectacular.
2 or
the
less.
last- Yeah.
Cowboy
2 or
Cone's
less.
really.
One
Yeah,
empty netter, right? Didn't
he's been great. Yeah, last week, not this week, but the week before, we had an empty netter, so it was only 2
The
goals
only
left,
other
too.
issue scenario I didn't put in there is if that game goes to overtime, obviously the winner would still have the tiebreaker.
But
then there wouldn't, if the Nordiques won it, there wouldn't be a clinch. There'd be 2 other games by the Ducks. So, doing stuff on the top of my head, if you guys won, the Ducks still might control their own destiny if they win the next 2 games, which is a hard thing to say considering they only have 12 points on the year. Cam, how are you seeing this one?
I think I told Penny last night. I'm like, you'll know my decision the game day when I walk in wearing the winning team's jersey. So, honestly, it's a tough one. I might have to lean more towards Ducks on this one.
Well,
We are out Fem again next week, if that changes anything.
You guys have already locked in Pfister, I believe, though.
Yeah, but I mean, we're 0 for 2 with Pfister, so.
you could call another Deke. You could call next Deke too.
I mean,
you could call a next Deke, but you guys haven't done that yet.
You know what? I mean, I tried to put in I put the bug in the ear yesterday, but it didn't go over well.
I told you criticized Panny one time about his lineup, and you get traded and never sub again.
I mean, you got to give Drager some credit, though. I know at least the last 2 or 3 weeks, he's been on top of essentially like right as the Monday games ends. He already knows a couple people are going to be out. He's already like locking in those subs before anybody else has. So even with him being out this year, he's staying on top of his game. He's, maybe he's not drafting the best teams or making the best trades, but he's doing everything that he can. That he's trying to make those.
No,
right
I mean,
decisions.
I'm not going to talk bad about Pan. I mean,
he kind of did earlier.
Well, yeah, but he also drafted a
He can take it.
He also drafted a keg team last year, so
He can take it. Well, was it him or Cone?
And
good point.
I don't know who pulls the strings. I mean, I think maybe Cone's a silent partner, but
The silent.
yeah, he's the
He
money
just stops
man.
the biscuits.
That's right.
it.
But Panny obviously is capable of drafting a winning team, and this year didn't go as well as last year did. I guess, right?
It's tough too because
Guilty.
it's hard to say like when you look at those two teams talent wise who's better, who's not. But I do feel like the Ducks have been playing better. If you look at this kind of like last turn and a half. Ever since Turtles came back, I feel like they've turned it up a little bit. They've played both tough games. They've had more points. I feel like if you look at that, the momentum's on their side, even though the Deeks do have an advantage of how they're sitting. Essentially, they know on Monday when and we're in.
Yeah. I mean, the easiest game either team has is next week, right? I mean, they're playing each other. The bottom two teams are playing each other. That's going to be the easiest game. You said it. The Ducks have a total of 9 points they can get. They're playing the Nordiques, the North Stars, and the Tigers, while the Deeks can get a maximum of, 6? 6 points. They have a bye coming up, and then they have the Seals to finish it off.
Yeah,
So I mean, if we're gonna run the odds here, in the way the games have been, I mean, you think the Seals are gonna steamroll the Nordiques. You think that the Tigers are probably gonna steamroll the Ducks. It comes down to how are the North Stars gonna fare now. We beat them, I think, the first game after the trade, but it was by one goal. I don't know.
So that was like a 5-4 game.
Yeah, it was offense in that game. Again, it just comes down to what team shows up. I think both teams have offensive capabilities. I think Panny, if I had to give him advice, and I'm not putting my hand up for this. I'm saying if he's looking for subs for Fem, he needs to find goal scoring. And we talked about this last week. Pfister's a very good player, very fast, very shifty, but he kind of needs that puck to be fed to him to finish it off. I think if you put Pfister one-on-one coming down on somebody, I don't know if he has enough of the moves in order to get in there the way and get that goal himself. I think he looks for that dish off and get that puck back and catch him in a good position where he can take advantage and then get the shot in.
Yeah, and I noticed apparently it looks like Brawny's out as well. And I mean,
that hurts.
Just let the Ducks know I am available if you need me. We have the 10 o'clock game, so I'm happy to help you guys, win that game and not clinch it for the Nordiques. So
yeah, it's gonna be an interesting week next week. I think that game's gonna be a fun one to watch. I hope like I said, I hope that the Nordiques come out swinging. I don't want to see the lack of effort that it was 2 weeks ago. I didn't get a chance to I didn't watch too much of the Deeks game last week, but I know 2 weeks ago they looked slow and sluggish. I like to see the Deeks moving their feet and really get going. Get Kimmel going. I mean, he's got a heck of a shot. Feed him in the slot. Let him take a couple nice wrist shots that he has and go looking for that top corner. Get that puck moving out the zone and let Cone do his thing and stop everything that moves.
And at the same time, we talked about it. If the Ducks win, they have the tiebreaker. But would it shock you the Ducks win and then lose out to the North Stars, the Tigers? At the same time, the Nordiques, they have their bye, and they would lose out to the Seals, and then the Ducks could win on a technicality of the tiebreaker.
Vegas is going to be putting out some serious odds.
Yeah.
I know. I wouldn't be
There's
surprised.
going to be a few different betting lines going on here on these last ones.
I mean, and would you honestly be surprised if that happened? I mean, let's be honest. Who would really be surprised the way the season's been going for both of them?
Absolutely. I mean, anything's possible in this league.
I would not be shocked. My prediction at the beginning of the year was 16 points would get you into the playoffs. Right now, the Nordiques are at 15. They win their 18. I'd be off by 2. Not that bad. But at the same time, if the Ducks
Not a big deal.
if the Ducks win and both teams lose out the rest of the way after that, 15 points might get you in there. So
It's absolutely ridiculous to think about. I mean, you know, I almost got to use a Troy line here. Basically, I feel bad picking on the Ducks. You know, I feel bad picking on the Nordiques, but I feel bad picking on either one of them because I see potential for them to be a much better team. I think we said before. I think the Ducks deserve to have more points with just the lineup they have. I mean, they have some good solid lineups, and when we had our team prior to the trade, we deserved to have a lot more points too. Because I thought we had two.
Well,
good
I think
lines.
back to last spring when I drafted you and Fem on the same team, and you guys lit up the league. You know, it was
looking good, and then I don't know what happened. Just couldn't get nothing going, and here we are, 20-some weeks later.
That was a fun spring.
yeah, I mean, one of the things on maybe the playoff time where we don't have quite as much to talk about when we want to cover it. I'm considering, doing a redraft of the first 3 to 5 rounds and kind of see where people land, because that's really where the bread and butter of your team goes. And like, where does a Pfister fall? Where does a Fem fall? Where does Pete then fall? Type of thing. I think that would
Rise.
be an interesting. I've ranked you 4 from the start. You shut your mouth.
I love you. Thank you for that.
Yeah. So
I'm more on the Nordiques Duck game. I think in order for the Mighty Ducks to beat the Nordiques, it's going to have to be 4 players coming to play. It's going to have to be Rubel, being that offensive man who can jump into the play really quick. You got Ben, who needs to play solid. He needs to be a playmaker. He needs to feed Sugar. Sugar needs to be on his game, and then also Z needs to play on his head.
yeah, I mean, I personally like the Ben and Turtle together. Put a Sean and a Sugar and I'm trying to think who's their other kind of next guy up.
Busta, obviously.
Not Busta. I'm having a blank there, but put Rubel essentially on the defensive line with Sugar there and kind of do those 2 combinations, because I feel like the silky smooth game of Ben and Turtle work really well together, type of thing. And then you kind of have more of that power lineup with Sugar. Rubel, like we've said, he always likes to jump in.
Just jumps in the play.
Try to get some extra firepower there. I think that's a really nice thing to have.
Sugar needs to play pissed. Let's be honest. Sugar plays better when he's mad.
Oh yeah, when he's out there and he's, making his cuts, he's, running into people, he's pissed off. He's a scary ass player.
But let's not forget. I mentioned, I don't want to brush it aside. Busta needs to get his ass in gear. I know he's not the fleetest of foot out there, but Busta has that shot. And Sugar will find him, or whoever is on his line will find Busta. Busta's got to bury the puck. If the Ducks, it's going to be those type of little role players, because, I mean, you see what happens out there. I mean, the Nordiques will cover the big guns. It's those little chintzy plays or those unforgotten people sitting by the net that are going to get those goals.
Yeah, like you said, Busta has a good shot. Busta has good hands, like for essentially receiving a pass.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's really burnt us this year, but I feel like last year on the Seals, Busta was one of those guys where the pass would come to him all the time, and he scored like probably 3-4 goals on us, and it was just like, how is he doing that? He's not that
Garbage
good.
goals. I remember those.
And on the Deke side, you guys got to get Kimmel going again.
Yeah.
I mean, Kimmel has one of the heaviest shots in this league. It may not be the fastest, but that thing, when you hear that thing hit off the boards, I think it leaves a hole in the boards. I mean, he has a heavy shot.
and he's accurate too.
Yeah.
I mean, last night I saw him just like out of nowhere. He just turned and he missed like top corner by like an inch, and he wasn't even looking at the net like a quarter second before. But he's not getting the opportunities to kind of get the puck in those offensive spots that he needs to. Kimball's not going to carry it up the ice,
Right.
go across the blue line, and then snipe a shot.
Right.
He's going to be open. You're going to get him a pass, and he's going to put it in for you.
Well,
And he's just not getting those passes.
Yeah, and that's going to be up to you guys to figure out how to get him the puck. I mean, I think he's a right-handed shot. He's not. You said he's not going to be the fastest guy. He's not going to carry it up all the way. He's going to look for the support. But when you guys get in that zone, Kimmel's going to be open. It's kind of like a la Brett Hull back in the day, where he could always find space in that zone. Just get him that puck and let him do his magic.
Yeah,
Gotta find Kimmel. Gotta get him going.
Sugar is kind of second on that other line would be Bauer then,
Bauer,
and going
yeah.
to Kimmel. yeah, like I said, he's a burst player. He needs to have his like burst moments. He's not. I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna be like a Fem and just go 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 go. But when when Kimmel has those burst moments, he's fast. He's got a shot. He can get those those quick little jarts, kind of like the quick sprint type things, and he can put up points. And you set him up, and he's gonna be great there. Just real quick, let's move on to next week's game. I think we talked about the Nordiques and the Mighty Ducks quite a bit. But next up on that agenda would be the North Stars, the Americans, like we talked about. This is a big one for who gets the bye. Even if the North Stars win, they don't control their own destiny, but it would be a big, or a big step for them to get there. What do we see happening in that game, Pistol?
Well, first, I'm going to revisit what I did to Proctor a couple years ago. I'm going to steal his skates so he can't find them before the game. No, it comes down to basically keeping an eye on Proctor. Proctor, for whatever reason, is not in the defensive zone too much, and if he is, he's really high in the blue line. So he likes to slink out and get behind the D, and he's waiting for that home run pass. So as soon as you drop two forwards down low, thinking that they got the defense pinned, especially someone like Starr, who sees Proctor and even Antioch can get it to him. As soon as you drop too many forwards down low, the puck's coming out, and there's Proctor on the breakaway. But that's also on the defense, too. The defense got to be aware, head on a swivel, know where he's at. And also down low, too, right? I mean, Proctor likes he's got the little Proctor zone. He's on the goalie's left, right? So Proctor's right. He's a left-handed shot. He's on the right-hand side of the ice, or his right-hand side of the ice, about the hash marks, the circle area, and he's waiting for a one-time shot. He does it every game. He does it every year, and I'm surprised that nobody's noticed that enough. For us, what do we got to do? We got to stop Proctor first. We know he's going to get his point. He might get a goal or two in the game. We just have to keep him down to a minimum. And then you got Starr, who's got the big shot from the point. Can't be afraid to get in front of it. And then you got Antioch, who's kind of a very, on his own. He can easily snipe that puck. I mean, if Proctor's not going, you can expect Antioch to pick up the slack. So those are the big three. You stop those three, you have a chance. The only problem is who you got left to worry about? Flow and net.
Yeah. Then the last game of the week would be the Tigers versus the Whalers. I'd say likely preview of the first round of the playoffs. Cam, going over to you, the question would be should we experiment with a lineup? Should we do what we normally do? Should show everything we have? Does it matter? Just go out and play our game type of thing.
I think we should play our game. I don't think trying to mix stuff up just I think I like the move where we put Trent back in D. I think maybe we keep that. Maybe do something with the forwards a little bit. I think it's going to be kind of more to like the North Stars and Americans game. I think it's going to, for me, it's like who's going to try to carry a momentum into the playoffs. Like, you want to carry momentum into that playoff to just keep going. Like, if you guys get shut down, will you guys be able to pick up that momentum? And then say if you guys did have a bye, like, et cetera, et cetera. For us, though, I say we keep up what we're doing, and really it's going to be shutting down Mount Taylor and trying to get past Hedis.
I agree. To me, we don't even worry about it. We don't take into consideration that we think this is going to be our first round playoff matchup.
Nope.
We go out there, we do our normal, or we do what our lines are going to be.
Game by game.
Whatever we think is the best line going to be, we go out there, we try to get that intensity up. Peso, he didn't have a goal last night, but he looked good. He had opportunities. We keep him going. Dave P played a great game as well. We just try to keep, I feel like our momentum's going up, even though we got a point, but we didn't get the win. We just keep that going, keep the momentum going up, and just kind of work on the chemistry. Our chemistry's been slowly getting better and better. Keep working that up until the playoffs start. We got 3 more games.
Yeah, learning to finish is going to be our, either our rise or fall. So
it hasn't translated to Monday Night Lights yet as much, but just Fridays, Peso's been scoring. Drop-ins, Peso's been scoring. He's starting to kind of get that groove back.
Maybe he's just been
bit.
sandbagging.
That might be at the right time for you guys.
Just unloads.
He was chirping last night, so obviously he's starting to feel better.
Yeah.
I've been telling him, and I think it was, I don't think it was overtime. I think it was right before that. I felt like Peso, he just wasn't letting it rip quick enough. And there was one point he had an open net. It was on his stick, and he just didn't get the shot out just a little bit faster would have been there.
Yeah.
Where he's just got to let that puck fly, and he's been letting the puck fly a lot more, a little less thinking, a little less aiming, and the puck's, he's got a good shot, obviously, and he just lets that puck fly. It's going to start going to the net. You don't give that goalie that opportunity. Before he was kind of like holding on to it, kind of looking, trying to aim it, and it kind of let that goalie give him time to shift over, and actually gave them the opportunity to get in a position where he's been doing that a little bit less lately. He's on the right track. He's been scoring for the K-Folks, obviously, the Worms. He had 2 goals last week, one for the Whalers, one when he was subbing.
Can't score when it counts.
With
Can't score when it counts.
If Peso starting to score, it makes the Whalers a very dangerous team.
You need Peso. You need Peso going. I mean, Peso needs to be going. I mean, like I said yesterday, he was in Peso form, bitching about getting touched on the skate and falling, and then not saying, "Oh, I didn't do nothing wrong," when he abruptly takes down Ellis.
Yeah, but we need that intensity from him.
No, but I mean,
you know
that's
what I mean?
Peso though. But I mean,
We need that from him.
It's not a bitch fest. That's Peso.
It's like
though.
Phil Kessel,
It shows
screaming
that
on the
he's moving
bench
and grooving,
during
he's
playoffs.
back on his horse.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
We
That's
need
the
him to get
pace-
fired up
that's
about
Peso,
stuff.
though. That's how Peso plays the game. If he's not doing that, that's when you should be worried. But if he's sitting there chirping, bitching about the little things, complaining about things that he shouldn't be complaining about, that's a good sign for you guys. I mean, that means he's getting back into it.
Let's not talk about bitching, because Troy, you could hear him screaming for a couple, 3-4 minutes.
That was me.
No, you did that. You did that later.
He slammed the door. He was livid.
I was
Ooh.
livid too. Don't get me wrong.
But I mean, if anything, I
Grumpy
wouldn't have.
old
I
man
wouldn't
on
have-
the bench.
I think you could have argued the refs easily could have gave Troy an unsportsmanlike conduct after a couple of plays there. I mean, I think the refs are pretty good about not doing that, but he was going on. I know you were complaining like at the face-off circle on a couple of things, mad at the refs, but he was like screaming that you could hear him throughout the rink.
Listen, I have a problem with both our regular refs. I have a big problem with them, and I blame Ty. I know you're watching this. I blame Ty. Game 1, hey, old man, watch out for Pistol. He's Mr. Tryhard. You just keep an eye on him. And ever since then, that old bastard of a ref, sorry, Rob, if you're watching, but that old bastard of a ref has been nothing but a thorn in my side, and the crap he calls and the things he says to me on the ice. I mean, the very first penalty, Matt Taylor, who, by the way, we know he's a mediocre player, not a big boy or a strong guy at all. When I kind of put a stick on stick check on him and he fell, I got a penalty, and the old man says, I have to call that on you because you're going to hurt somebody out here because you're too good.
That's what they're doing, man. And it's the other one, Joey or whatever, is doing the same thing. I mean, at one point, I lifted Antioch. Like, Antioch lifted my stick. I put my stick under his, lifted his. He fell down. I got a tripping call.
Yeah.
And I'm like, my stick was nowhere near his feet,
Now-
man. And he's like, well, you're going to hurt someone. Well,
I actually made
sorry, I just want
No,
to, and I got upset yesterday with the penalty that I had on Serta, and I talked to Serta afterwards, and I will rescind my complaint because I trust Serta tremendously and I respect the guy. He said, "Yeah, you got your stick on my hands," and that's what the ref called, so I'll give him that one. But going later in the game, this is where I got mad, and I out yelled Troy from the corner when I got a clear breakaway, and I got a defenseman who's has no intention of playing the puck and throwing a shoulder into me. And then when I get mugged on the boards, and like I said, that's the game Trent plays, and I know that's the game he plays, but Trent wasn't looking for the puck. He was looking to rub me out because I had the step on him and the momentum on him. He just held me there and was giving me the shots.
I've seen Trent make that play many a time.
I know, and
yeah.
Trent got called for that one, but what got me mad was, and Antioch did a great job. And by Antioch, unsung hero for the referee, man, he did a great game. Called everything that should have been called on both sides, and I thought he did a great game. But what I got mad at the old man ref is like, okay, Trent did that and you called that. Where's the first call for a hit? Because God knows if I run into somebody or if I throw a shoulder on somebody, I'm getting called on that one.
That's funny because Turnbull in the locker room was like, because Trent was complaining about his call because he didn't feel like it was, and Turnbull's like, that was just a makeup call because I should have got a penalty.
They were both calls.
Oh yeah, they were both makeups.
They were both calls.
Yeah.
I don't know makeups. They were both calls. They called the one on me and Serto. Okay, I'll give them that one. Right? They didn't, and then Serta and I ran into each other later in the game. That wasn't a call, right? But there was no intention, no hit or anything like that. But when you step out of your lane as a defenseman to go after somebody to hit them, that's a call.
Panty made a really good point though when I brought this up to I was complaining about the refs in our games as well.
Who are we gonna get?
And Panty brought up a really good point that when we're playing in beer leagues, like on Fridays
Yeah.
and Wednesdays and stuff, we see these refs maybe 3, 4, 5 times a year. We see these guys every week,
I
so
know.
we know exactly what they're inconsistent on. So like it's like they do all the same stuff that every other ref
they
does.
keep
It's just
making
we have a
stuff up,
lot
though.
more to complain
They
about. You know,
keep making stuff up. I can't write this stuff. And Dougie, if you're listening, I'm going to bring that stick check up again. The slashing call. That's the call I got. A slashing for lifting Dougie's stick and going through the roof. I'm like, come on, man.
they've been doing that one a little bit much. The stick lifts and stuff that they've been calling it's a little bit much, but.
I mean, when you get actors out there like Cipps who will drop his stick if you like nick him with your finger.
Yeah, like a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. I mean, either way, I think the main thing, and I think a lot of us have said this, be consistent with your calls. There's stuff, things are light. You don't necessarily like that. I would prefer a little more contact in the game personally than
Same.
not having contact.
Let the boys play.
But
Yeah, I think
That's all I
they're
need to
calling a
hear.
little bit more like ticky-tack
But
style,
as long,
which I would like
but to me,
but
like I said, that's what I prefer. But if you're consistent across the board, that's what you need. If you have a call, if you see a bunch of calls that aren't ticky-tack calls that aren't being called, and then you see something that is a ticky-tack call that is being called, that's where the big problem is.
Yeah, and and what drives me nuts is like, I mean, it just drives me nuts, the inconsistency too. I mean, and I don't like some of the guys being singled out for the calls. I mean, that's what I'm noticing. It's like that will always rub me the wrong way with him. When a ref tells you that I'm calling stuff on you because you're too good and you're going to hurt somebody, that drives me nuts, and that's really bugged me the whole year. And I've mentioned it a couple times, and I'm sorry I keep bringing it up. I really do apologize. But that, as a player who's played enough hockey, that drives me nuts because I pride myself in the fact that I do not go out and try to hit you guys.
I will agree with that. I also agree with you should not be calling calls because you think someone's too good. But I'm going to ask you this question as well.
Go ahead.
You were kind of bitchy and whiny in the third period after either not calls or your call happened, stuff like that.
Yeah.
As much as we don't want to say it or anything, do you think you're egging on calls against yourself if you're acting like that?
Yes, I do, but I really do. But that's the other thing, though, too, is how many times have you heard me get bitchy at a ref in the 4 years I've been out here? No, I mean, seriously. How many times have you heard me get
Every game I play against you.
every game? Oh, you play, what, 1 year? But, I mean, it's like, like I said, I have fun with all the refs out there, and I'll talk to them, and I'll give them crap and say, hey, you missed this or that. But I don't think I've ever gone, like, ape shit on any ref. And this year twice now, I've gone bananas on the refs, and because it's pissing me off at that. And I told the ref, it's like, if you want to see a slash, I will show you a slash. If you would like to see me put somebody out, I will do that for you.
Do you think saying that is putting you in the box more?
No, I don't think it is.
I would disagree with that.
I don't think it is.
I would say, I personally say as much as we don't, as much as it shouldn't happen, the more you bitch at a ref, the more likely are they.
You're just more prone for calls. Yeah.
I mean, I've had a penalty this year I didn't agree with.
Right.
I've had other calls before. I want to yell at a ref. I think on the penalty I had against Cipps, I didn't say anything to the ref, but I know I was bitching and yelling. I think I said some vulgar stuff to Cam's girlfriend or. No. Let me rephrase that.
what was that one line? I gotta hear. What was that?
I didn't say it to Cam's girlfriend. She was just in the area to hear me say that, but I made sure it was outside of the ref's thing.
I gotta hear the one-liner again.
It was pretty funny.
What was the
We
one-liner?
don't need to record
No, we
that.
do.
on
We
tape.
do.
I think
we
we
do.
do.
I remember talking about it.
But you were saying, do I get more calls? No, I don't think it works that way. I mean, because it depends. Like I said, it all depends on the player. Because like I said, I don't go after the refs. I talk to the refs. Yes, I will talk to them every game, but rarely. These last like 4 or 5 games have been an exception. Rarely do I sit there and call the refs, cuss at them, or tell them any bullshit. Like, I mean, half these refs I see all the time outside the rink too, and I sit there and shoot the shit with them. So yeah, when I get on the ice and I see them again, I talk to them all the time. But and the thing is, again, it comes with an understanding of the game. And I will talk to any ref, and I will have fun with a ref, and I have good times with them, and say shit to them, and they'll say shit back to me, and I don't care. But I will say my piece, and I've never had a secondary call on me in like the 20-some years I've played since, whatever, 37 years I've been playing, but in the 20-some years after I turned 18, whatever the hell it was, I haven't had a secondary call on myself because I don't go at a ref like that.
I mean, you've had a completely different experience than me, I guess.
No,
Because I mean, as someone that plays on the edge a little bit, usually once I get that first call, if I don't agree with it and I start cussing at the refs or something, then I immediately get like 2 or 3 more calls.
Oh my God,
game.
Worms
Right.
last year, you were
I
in the
get-
box 3 times a game.
I
Man.
get either 0 calls or like 7 calls.
Right.
You know?
And case in point, right after my penalty, I came out on the ice, and I think I went behind the net, and I got Peso, and I fought Peso off for a puck, and Peso fell down. And, he didn't say nothing. I mean, Peso knew it wasn't a penalty, whatever. But afterwards, after the play was over, I go to Rob, and I go, hey, by the way, I went after the puck, and he fell behind net. Is that a penalty, too? And he looked at me, he goes, yeah, it is. I'm like, okay, good. Have a little fun with them. But, I mean, it just drives me nuts is consistency. I want consistency. God damn, I sound like Hedis now. But I want consistency.
I mean, if
The
Ben
net
gets
was
on the
off.
ice next game,
The net was
I'm
off.
skating right off if Ben gets on the ice next game. That's all I know.
Oh, Lord. All right, I'm done bitching about that.
So, just a few reminders. We try to record every Tuesday, 9 o'clock. We have the Whoop line, 714-75-WHOOP. Give us a call. Leave us a voicemail for the show.
No voicemail today?
No voicemails today.
No
No
love
Troy.
today.
Is there some new product that...
I don't
God
know.
damn it, where the hell's Sammy when we need him?
Email the show, podcast at mnlhl.com. Follow, subscribe to us on Twitch. It just helps out the league. Money goes towards there. Things like the beer on the All-Star game can be contributed to that, possibly lowering costs. Who knows? If you have Amazon Prime, you have Twitch Prime, you get that monthly sub every month. If you're not using it, you might as well use it for something just to go
Just a
towards those
click
dues.
away.
That's right. We got a couple 4 months here. We got a first month, right? Where's yours? Cam, where are you at?
Huh? I don't have a Prime account. Is that weird?
Oh, boy. That is weird.
That is
I don't-
super weird.
That is
I
super
don't.
weird.
I don't order off
We
of
did
Amazon
have
a lot.
Ashley subscribe to
Yes, we
Prime.
did.
Who
so
monitors everything you say in your house?
Yes.
I need Google and Amazon recording all of my conversations in case I ever get divorced. Then you can go back and check the tape.
That's what I didn't do right.
Well, yeah. So we do have 3 weeks left in the season. Then we're off to the playoffs. Things could be settled possibly at next week's show. We don't know. I think for drama-wise, it'd probably be more fun if it wasn't. But, boys, I'd like to thank everybody for coming
Yeah.
on. Anybody have any last words or subjects they want to cover?
Go Ducks.
Good luck, boys, next week. I mean, you guys are the game of the week.
It's just
Good luck.
It's in Anaheim. Anybody can play in Anaheim. You want to play in Quebec, where it's like hockey town. Everyone watches you. We're in the news every time we lose. Every time we do anything. It's just hockey town Canada.
I kinda
right?
like-
Jesus,
I
with your
kinda like-
record, you guys are going to fold before the end of the year. You got to
Yeah.
be careful.
Next year, Deeks could be turn in the Avalanche. We'll see.
That's right. They're going for that first-round pick.
I like
I kinda-
skiing. I like snowboarding.
I kind of like sun and fun of Anaheim. I don't know. So who
Shorts or
knows?
snowboards? Who knows?
But yeah, remember, subscribe to the show, email the show, call the Whoop line. But we are over.
Remember, have your pet spayed or neutered.
Yes.
Jeez.